That's great, isn't it, getting AP on Fighting Talk? How splendid. Well, it's time for us to talk to Cash Peters. Hello, Cash.
Not just Fighting Talk, but the best Fighting Talk ever.
Oh, yes.
That must really be good. Hello, darling.
Yes. Hello. Nice to hear you.
You're back.
I am. Yes, I come back.
That just means you went away for a week and left me in the hands of Giles Dinlot.
And was that a lovely experience? I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was just charming.
I looked him up on Wikipedia, and there's no entry for Giles Dinlot. He goes, "Did you mean Giles Dingy?" I guess I did.
No, Giles. We'll make sure you'll probably write an entry for Giles as soon as we finish this. Given your prowess with Wikipedia.
But what happened was that Giles was on. I mean, nobody loves Giles more than I do, except perhaps his wife. And maybe his spaniel, Coco. But he's a very talented man, and actually a potential usurper of your throne.
Oh, excellent.
Should you be too drunk one week?
That would be a good idea. I mean, it wouldn't be a good idea to have me drunk.
Sorry, I keep interrupting you. I'm so sorry. But he announced that he's coming to LA.
Right. So
I know, and he wanted to meet me.
What is Cash to say? That's the question.
Well, I said no. He said he wanted to meet me, and I just said no, and that was that. And I have witnesses. I definitely said no. Then yesterday morning, I get this email from him saying, actually, I was serious. And so I wrote back and said, so was I. No. And he still wants to see me. But, he's so sweet.
That's a bit, you're being the kind of prima donna there, aren't you? A bit, you're being the artist.
Yes, right. You know my history, Rod. I never meet anybody. I get several requests a year, and I turn them all down for obvious reasons. Because they always just want to stay in my spare bedroom, or they want me to buy them lunch or dinner or something. I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. Right. And anyway, just because we're on the radio doesn't mean we know each other. I mean, I don't know Giles Dingy. Anyway, so, but he persuaded me. He's coming for a wedding. He's going to be here all weekend. And so he's finally persuaded. And we're actually going to go meet up. And I'm dreading every last second of it.
Well, you never know. He might be.
What's he like?
You and I don't know him either, because it's one of these things, isn't it?
So why didn't he just come and pester you?
Good question. But he's coming to Los Angeles because the weather's better in Los Angeles.
He's coming to a wedding, not because of the weather. He's coming to a wedding. Okay. And I think he's going to meet up and suggest a mutiny, that we take over your chair, and he just wants my support. But
I think so. I mean, God, well, look, you let it be between yourselves and let me know what you work out, okay?
I will. I'll tell you next week what happens. But quite honestly, it'll be if I have my way, it'll be 10 minutes and I'll be gone.
Yeah. Well, I was being tweeted by people last week, because I tweeted my follower and I said, look, I'm going to San Francisco. And in fact, I sent them a picture of me in San Francisco, and they said, oh, very good. Some of them said very good. Some said, well, some people have all the luck, or words to that effect. I wasn't that far away. That was all I was going to point out.
Like they normally do.
Yeah, exactly. So I was only 400 miles away from you. It was about as far as, somebody's tweeting me again as we speak. This is always dangerous. Anyway, I wanted to say that I was on your coast, and it was very nice. I had a lovely, lovely week up north. It was very, very nice.
And similar to the last time you were on our coast and came to San Francisco, you didn't call me either.
I didn't. No, I did seriously say I thought I should. And then I was just overtaken by events. So this is my public apology.
Well, yeah, but I was reading an interview that you did with some newspaper in 2009 over here about your lovely gig here on the show. And there are two things that I query about it. One was the fact that I wasn't mentioned anywhere in it. You said we have lots of lovely contributors. Was I mentioned? No. And two, you said we have 1 million listeners in the UK.
Yes, this is true.
According to my poll, which is I know is a bit of a thumbnail sketch.
I know now. Yes, but then your poll, you can name them. I can't name all of our listeners, and
or indeed point at them in the street.
Yes. I mean, I appreciate there's a bit of a demographic problem here between your poll and the poll that we
and the truth
get. Yes, and the truth. Let's just say it's somewhere there. It's somewhere.
Next time you're interviewed, whatever that is, which might be about 10 years down the line, please mention my name. I need the publicity.
Oh, certainly. I mean, for what it's worth, we did have, as they say, audited listening figures, which were extremely good last time round. Hugely good.
Just for this half hour, perhaps, and then it just sort of flagged off again at 3.
It could be that, if you went into the micro of it, there might be this huge peak for this half hour. On the other hand,
yes.
The data was not forthcoming. Let me put it like that.
Oh my God, we are so delusional. Seriously, we really are. We got Giles trying to get your spot on Mutiny, and we got audience figures in the millions. I mean, how crazy are we? There are 35 people listening to this show, and I can produce a list and I can fax you the list. Seriously.
Yeah, we could probably start calling them all, but we won't, because we've got radio, which is just fantastic.
Yeah, we can talk to them generally. This is so great. By the way, can I just say what my news was this week?
What?
That we've had a disaster and some great news. The great news is, I've written this new book. I won't go into it now, but it's like about health and healing and stuff, and it's a serious book. And this week, it's been adopted as a set text, a set book at a college course. My book. I'm actually going to be like a set book in a university college course. I'm so excited. I've got to go and give the students a talk.
Wow. Well, which college? Please.
Yeah, University of Southern California, one you might actually have heard of.
I have heard of that. Isn't that where George Lucas and all these Spielberg went to USC, didn't they? That's where the famous film
absolutely.
School is.
And I am going to go there and give a talk about my book, which I'm extremely excited about. But that's not out for weeks, so I'll tell you about more of that later. But here's the thing, though. Do you remember weeks ago that our neighbor had built a pool? Remember that? And I told him not to. Our new neighbor.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
do you remember that?
I do.
I know you weren't very excited.
And we're not talking about Russell Brand. We're talking about another neighbor who shall be nameless.
Our direct neighbor here, not Russell Brand who lives up the street. This is just our direct neighbor. Well, I told him not to do a pool, but he was so insistent, and he built this thing in the end, and it's the size of Kenya. There's no room. You have to sort of like press against the walls to get around it. It's so huge. It's ridiculously huge, and it's like a small family. They do not need something the size of the Grand Canyon filled with water, and So, but he built it anyway, and he's put it's like Vegas or Dubai. It's like full of palm trees, and it's just ridiculous. So, he has this thing, and it was filled with water. Do you know how much it costs to fill a pool with water in California? Just one swimming pool with water.
I guess it's expensive. The answer is no. I have no idea.
I thought you might have figures to hand.
Let's think about it. Have you got to bring in the water in a tanker? Or how do you do it?
No, I think you just do it from the tap, but it costs you, obviously, because you're filling it something the size of Kenya.
I don't know. Tell me.
You know, in 2001: A Space Odyssey, where they go to the moon and they go down into that cavern where the monolith is. It looks like that, and $1,000 to fill a pool.
Whoa. Bye.
With water, right? So it's $1,000 to fill it. He filled it up with water, and they had a little party to celebrate, and everybody was gathered around the pool, pressed against the walls. And then he discovered that the people who'd actually done the pool had forgotten to put tiles on. When they all got in the pool, they all scuffed their skin off their feet, because they'd left only concrete or whatever the surface is, and they hadn't put tiles on.
You would think you would actually look, wouldn't you, before...
Wouldn't you check before they left? I would. But anyways, before you sign the invoice. So off they go, the things, and they have this party, and they all scuff their feet, and everybody's in tears, and there's blood everywhere. And they have to take all the water out of the pool, which they pour into the street. So it's horrible. The whole street is flooded. Well, they pour out the pool.
So you're flooded with vaguely pink water, are you?
Yeah. So with water with blood in it, all going down the driveway into the street. And then he's had to have all the guys back in again to retile the whole thing and fill it up again with what total cost of doing this $10,000.
This is a bit like lifestyles of the rich and stupid, isn't it?
Yes, lifestyles of the stupid and just basically imbecilic. Who doesn't check that the tiles are in their pool before they fill it with water? Right. I mean, before I connected the hose to the tap in the kitchen, I would go and take a look, but he didn't, and they had to take the whole lot out again. And today there were guys in there sanding it down and putting tiles back in or whatever. I don't know, but it's just very, very funny. So that's iconic news. But every time they do that, their whole garden and all our vegetables are covered in clouds of cement and stuff. So it's been a nightmare day, frankly.
Here's somebody nice who says she should be asleep. Her name's Karen, and she's one of my country people, Cash. I can tell that from her name. And she says she should be asleep, but she stayed up just to listen to us blether. Isn't that very nice? Isn't that very properly
Yes,
Scottish
Karen,
thing to say?
if you're going to adopt that attitude, Karen, yes, you should be asleep. Pull the covers over your head and turn the radio off. No patience.
No,
with it.
stay. Listen,
how do you know she's Scottish just because she's called Karen?
Do you know she's called Karen Mack something, isn't she? It's bound
Oh, really?
to be.
Oh, okay.
She's one of my people. It's wonderful.
One of your people that you abandoned to go live in America. Yes, I know those people.
One of my people who I still love and cherish and go and see as often as possible. Right.
Yes, Karen, one tip for you. When you're in America on vacation, go and see Rod. He'll take you out to lunch. The way I get pestered all the time.
I won't say I probably will, but I'll give it my best shot. Let's see. Sandwiches.
Grief. Yeah, Karen, now you've really got to come to America. I really want to see this happen.
You've really got me going.
Anyway,
now. Okay,
so
let's go.
On.
I am desolate to hear about Katie Couric leaving CBS News.
Oh, no, you're not. You just don't want to hear me say, I told you so.
No, because there was new money on the table, and she was going to stay, wasn't she? The last I
it's
heard.
so tricky, this. It's always tricky. We're at a very, very difficult time in American television history. All these people, it used to be only like 3 or 4 years ago, before this wretched recession, that you used to be able to say, I'm not going to work at this job anymore unless you give me an extra couple of million a month or something. And you used to be able to do that. And they'd go, oh no, please don't go. Here's a sack of money. You can't do that anymore. Regis Philbin, who was the king of daytime. He was the king of mornings on ABC. I think he tried that gig and it didn't work. They just said, okay, go. Larry King's gone, and now Katie Couric's gone. And what's going to happen is, obviously she was the very first solo anchor of an evening news show. A fact you refused to admit, but you were actually, in the end, were forced to concede, right? Or are you still fighting?
No, she wasn't the very first solo anchor, but she was the first solo female anchor.
Yeah, she was the first solo female anchor of... Did I not say that? Okay. So anyway, the thing is that the ratings have been terrible. They really have.
But they've got a lot better. They got a lot better after our interview with Sarah Palin, I think.
Yeah, for one evening. All the ratings go up during an election, but the moment the election's over, they go down again, and then you find out who's really watching what. And the truth is that most people are watching cable for their news anyway, really. And the evening anchors are kind of like this outdated thing whereby somebody sits and stares at you and tells you what's happening in the world. And they needed something. CBS needed something to come out from third place. And they tried Katie Couric, and it didn't work. They're still in third place. The ratings have been abysmal. So she goes on David Letterman, and David Letterman starts ribbing her and going, well, hang on a minute. When you're in that chair, you're in there till your hair turns grey and, you're just forced out. They have to take you away in a wheelchair. And she went rather sarcastically kind of, really? And it was a sort of moment when you went, uh-oh, this is not good. It's been less than 5 years. And she's had her moments like that Sarah Palin thing. She made history by showing her as a sort of doofus. But that was it. And CBS by the end was still in third place. So she came from the Today Show originally, where she was all kind of fluffy and fun. And I think that was the problem, that you just think of Katie Couric as fluffy and fun, even though secretly behind the scenes, I heard she was an absolute cow. But I don't know that for sure, so I'm not going to say it again. But apparently she was just very mean-spirited, I heard, allegedly. But what's interesting, here's the interesting bit, that Meredith Vieira, who took over her slot on the Today Show when Katie Couric left, announced today that she's leaving the Today Show to spend more time with her family, blah, 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 which suggests that she's actually doing this whole give me more money or I won't stay thing. And fueling speculation that maybe Katie Couric will go back to the Today Show. And which is her rightful place, where she can be fluffy on screen and everybody kind of loves her. They're sort of saying, well, now she's going to go and do this afternoon talk show, which everybody goes and does. Everybody goes and does an afternoon talk show. But she's so boring. Who wants to listen to Katie Couric while you're having your Battenberg and your Thai foo at 3? Not me, that's for sure.
Look, I will defend Katie Couric at every turn. I think she's fine. I think she's a great television personality, and I think she did a fine job with CBS News.
I just think she turned you on because of her hair. I remember you never liked her very much till she had her hair cut short, and then suddenly you were all over her like a rash. I mean, they've got Diane. I speak the
That's
truth.
That's shut me up, hasn't it? Oh.
It has. That's shut your trap.
Yes, it's a bit like getting on one of these scales at the fair, isn't it? I speak the truth.
That's right. The great cashola speaks the truth. But I mean, Diane Sawyer, she's like she followed Katie Couric, and now she's the network anchor at ABC. I think she's doing okay. She's like in second place.